Hello, welcome to Technical Founders. My name is Carlos Lara, software engineer and entrepreneur. The purpose of this channel is to help entrepreneurs become technical founders. So, who is this channel for? This channel is for entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs interested in building technology startups. So, if that's something that you're interested in, and if that's something that you want to do, then this is the perfect channel for you. So, what does technical founder mean? So a technical founder is a founder or co-founder with the ability to build software. That's all it means. The ability to write the code, build the software, build the product, at least initially when you first start out. So let's get right into it. So the content of this channel is going to be primarily two parts. The first part, business. Of course, business, right? We're talking about startups building a company, right? So definitely, the business side of things, right? And we are going to specifically focus on lean startup methodology. Some of you may or may not have read the book, The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. And if you haven't, I highly recommend it. Amazing book, very powerful, life-changing. I highly recommend it. And we're not going to get too much into it in this video because this is an introductory video to the channel. But the next video and subsequent videos, we will go deeper into what the lean startup is exactly. So that's the business side of the channel. The second part of the channel is engineering. So of course, technical founders, founder or co-founder with the ability to write software, to build the actual software. So that's going to be the second, main part of the channel. And since I am a mobile developer specializing in iOS and Android mobile app development, that's what I'm going to focus on in this channel. I mean, you may not need an app, you may just need a website, or you may need a different kind of technology. But because I'm a mobile developer, that's the software engineering that I do, that's what I'm going to be teaching here. And we're going to use something very, very specific. It's a technology called Xamarin. Xamarin is an amazing new way to build native mobile apps for iOS, Android, and many other platforms, all simultaneously by just writing the code once in a single programming language called C#. So it's pretty amazing. I believe that's the future of mobile application development. I really think that's where things are going. It's very efficient. Again, you don't need two separate teams. Let's say you're doing just iOS or Android development. You don't need the iOS team, the Android team, and if you're doing more, different programming languages, different, like development environments, not speaking the same language necessarily. That's the way it's typically done, but now Xamarin, it's really changing everything. And by the way, I'm just going to write the words so you know how to write or spell it. So Xamarin, and like I said, we use C# as the programming language, just the one. You can do more later, but for now, to get started, to hit the ground running, all you need to know is C#, the one programming language, and then you can have your iOS, Android, and more applications all at once. Very efficient, very quickly, and we'll see why this is very good, goes very well with the lean startup. One of the ideas of the lean startup is you want to get a product out to market as quickly as possible so you can get feedback from your users or potential customers, and so you can iterate and morph the actual software and the product, and until you actually have something that customers really love. So the definition of a startup that we're going to be using throughout the channel, because it's very important, and in the book The Lean Startup, Eric Ries defines a startup as an organization dedicated to creating something new under conditions of extreme uncertainty. Pretty amazing. Conditions of extreme uncertainty. A startup, we'll delve more into this in the next videos, but for now, basically a startup doesn't really know what customers want yet, doesn't know what to build. There's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of uncertainty, because we're not a startup is not a large established company executing a known business model. They just don't know yet. They have to discover, they have to find out what they should build for whom. And the lean startup basically is the scientific formula, the formula to find that out. It tells you it's pretty amazing, and we'll go into it and you'll see. And the most successful startups, especially of like today, the 21st century, have been actually lean startups. Amazingly, have been Airbnb, Facebook, and so many others have been actually lean startups. That's, and as far as their execution. So and then in other videos we'll actually delve more into them, and study them a little bit to see how they apply lean startup methods, to become billion-dollar companies eventually. So basically, lean startup is the recipe. However, none of that matters if you don't have a product. You need to actually have a product that you can put in front of customers that they can actually use, get value from, so you can actually grow the company from there. So that's why it's so important to have both of these things, because we're talking, again, technology companies. That's who this channel is for. Is if you're interested in building a technology startup, that's why we need the two main things, which is, of course, the business, the lean startup side, and we need the engineering, and which in this case, again, I'm going to be using Xamarin Mobile Development, because I think that's the future of mobile app development. And if your business, what you want to do, your idea involves a mobile application, iOS, Android, etc., then this is just absolutely perfect. This is the right channel for you. Okay, so moving on. So reasons why you would want to become a technical founder, because you might say, my background, I'm not I've never done engineering. My background is, something completely unrelated to software engineering. I've never written code in my life. It's only for I've heard this one before. It's only for geniuses, writing code. That is not true. You'll see in the next videos, when we actually start going into Xamarin and, C#, like it's actually relatively simple. You can actually hit the ground running pretty quickly, but you need to be in that mindset and have that confidence to actually know that you can do it and you can actually move forward. So we'll actually go right into it. So reasons to become a technical founder. So the first one, in no particular order, by the way. So the first one, having a deep understanding of the product and technology. So obviously, having a deep understanding of what you're building, the product, the technology, where things are going, where the future is headed, is definitely an advantage, an absolute advantage. If you're not a technical, founder, and let's say you're a single founder, non-technical, this is very, very common. How do you know? How do you really know, what to build, how to build it, what the technology is, and this actually brings us into the next point, which is engineer recruitment and management. So when I first started out my company, I was a non-technical founder. I was not technical. I did not have a computer science background, a software engineering background. I had a nuclear engineering background and theoretical physics and mathematics background, which is technical but not pertinent to building a technology company, in the case of software, mobile applications. So it's very specific. Software engineering is really what we mean here by technical. So I did not have a technical co-founder. I asked all my friends. No one wanted to join. To everyone, it was actually very counterintuitive to do this, because we were, raised with the mindset of go to college, get a job, work for a company, and then retire and just live. Right? We were not taught how to be entrepreneurs and how to take risks and how to, have this. We were not taught this mindset, basically. So what I started doing initially was going to events, networking with other engineers, sharing my idea, like asking them what they thought, if they'd be interested. I would very gladly, for example, give them 50% of the company if we could partner up together and just build this company together. I would be the business guy and they would be the engineering guy. And I was, at this point I had already read The Lean Startup. I had read other amazing books, which we'll get into later, like The Innovator's Dilemma, 0 to 1, The 4 Steps to the Epiphany, which actually launched the Lean Startup Revolution, and so many other books, really. So I thought I knew what I was doing in business, or I was, going, I had that mindset, I had that, that knowledge, so to actually move forward, talking to customers, all these things, but I could not build a product myself. So I needed a technical co-founder. I thought so at the time that I needed a technical co-founder. So since none of the people in my circle, in my inner circle really, or anywhere near me wanted, were not interested really, or did not really have the qualifications or the software engineering background to actually build a product, again, I was networking and, looking for engineers. I went on LinkedIn. I started, sending, connecting with people, and start just like talking to them and sharing the idea. Again, just trying to build relationships and try to find someone who would like help me build a product, or then we would partner up, do it together as a team, and then grow the company from there. And we would have this balance of the business founder and the engineering co-founder. So that's what I thought. So these people, I did not know them, because the people that I knew, it didn't happen with them. So I was basically talking to strangers and trying to recruit strangers and trying to get them to help me, basically. It was a win-win, of course, but I didn't know these people really. I was just reaching out to them out of the blue and trying to building relationships out of thin air, and we didn't have that history working together. There was just a lot of uncertainty. So my first engineer, my first co-founder. So I always did this, a trial period where we work together before we even sign documents and do, share equity and do all these things. First, let's work together for, couple weeks, few weeks, and let's see how we actually work together. That's at the very least. I mean, you don't get married the day you meet, right? There's got to be at least some period of time where you can actually gauge compatibility, work compatibility, personality compatibility, so many other things, right? So this first person, we talked about the product, the features, what needed to be, what we needed next. Or the first steps for the actual app, for the product. And, and then it came to the point where, we were like talking, okay, how long is this going to take? And he said, oh man, I don't know, like 2-3 weeks. Yeah. And, at the time, I don't know anything about software engineering, mobile development. I don't know anything about this. So I say, okay, that's just the way it is. And it's taking a little long. We should be able to get to market quicker, but all right, that's just how long it takes, I suppose. But I don't know. I'm ignorant. I don't know. So it's a weakness right there and then. So, and the story actually, after the 2-3 weeks, he barely had anything. He hadn't really done even that, not even anything. So I just had to cut that relationship. It just didn't work out. The trial period really did not work out. So later, when I actually became a technical founder, and like in another video, I'll just talk about other. More of these examples where I just kept going through a potential technical co-founder, and similar things happen where, since I was ignorant about development and all these things, they were kind of taking advantage of me and saying this is going to take longer and being lazy about it with the illusion that they're working, because I just didn't know. So at some point I actually started getting paranoid and thinking the company's going to die if I don't do it myself. Unfortunately, I did not have a friend, or someone like that who would join me. I had to do it alone from the founding side, right? It's a single founder. I had to do it alone. I did not have a co-founder, just the way things worked out. So I said, if I cannot build a product, the company's going to die, and this is just not going to happen. So I had an epiphany. I had a moment, a revelation, where I was thinking, for the company, I'm going to become a technical founder. And that's what I did. My father is a software engineer, so I asked him, we started talking about different approaches to software development and how I could, hit the ground running, and just to started in that period of intense learning, basically. And this is like when I discovered Xamarin, that you can actually build the iOS, Android, and more apps simultaneously, all at once, using the one programming language, C#. And I'll talk about, in the videos when we actually start talking about the actual engineering, I'll talk about, what was my learning process, what I had to do, to become a technical founder. I mean, basically, I was just obsessed, like 16, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, for several weeks, just, in a period of accelerated learning, because my time was ticking. I had a certain amount of life savings. By the way, I dropped out of graduate school. I was doing my graduate work in nuclear engineering, and I dropped out to start the company. And I had a certain amount of life savings, not a lot, and that money was draining. My bank account was draining, so I had to hurry, basically. So that's why I became a technical founder, because again, as far as when it comes to engineering, recruitment, and managing them, and just even interacting with them, there was something deeply missing there. Especially no co-founder. If I had a technical co-founder, he could deal with them, he could talk to them, he could recruit the engineers. But since I was a technical founder, a single founder, I had to learn the language of software engineering so I could communicate with potential employees, with potential partners, for this. So I became a technical founder for that purpose. I never learned C# and mobile development and software engineering to become a software engineer, to make a career out of it. It was really to save the company, to actually build a product and start getting traction until I got to the point where I could raise capital from investors and start hiring my own engineers. But now the game had changed completely once I became a technical founder, because now when I talk to engineers, now we can speak the same language, and now they couldn't take advantage of me and tell me that something's going to take 3 weeks when it's going to take 1 day. By the way, the first engineer, he told me something was going to take 3 weeks. When I actually did it myself, it took me like 2 hours. He said it was going to take 3 weeks. That is just crazy. And again, the ignorance at the time, I thought, oh, this is the way it is. But now, with the new understanding, now it's a lot harder for people to take advantage of you. Now you can actually gauge if they're making progress and hold them accountable in more rigorous manner, and just in a more to be more clear about that, as far as when it comes accountability with engineers, again, speak the same language. And you can even I even got to the point where I'm just cracking jokes about Boolean functions, and we'll come back to that. What a Boolean function is, it's not important right now, but the point is, have these nerdy talks and jokes. It's completely different. The game has completely changed now. For me, and all the potential for the future is also amazing now. Like the probability of success is just a lot higher now, just because I had a mind shift and I became the technical founder. So that's why I want to help other people become technical founders. That's why I created this channel. That's the whole purpose and mission of this channel. Okay. So real quick, we'll go through the last two just real quick. So build MVP yourself. So what is MVP? MVP means minimum viable product. That's from the Lean Startup. The idea is when you start a company, you want to get a minimum viable product out to market to your potential customers and just start getting feedback. This is a product that is lacking so many features. It has nothing to do with your grand vision for the perfect product. It's far from the perfect product. And we'll get into minimum viable product in the Lean Startup videos. But basically, it's a product with just the minimum features, just the minimum amount of things needed for you to test your business hypothesis, basically, and to see if people will actually pay or use the product. It's just this initial smoke test, basically, to see if if there's an actual market need for this, get feedback from users. And then, if you're a technical founder, you can build that software yourself. In my case, an app, a mobile application, and if you're doing that too, then an app, right? And plus early iterations. So once you talk to customers, they give you feedback, you may have to go change the code, make changes to the features, add features, remove features, change things in the code, and now you can actually do that. Of course, at some point, not too far in, you get to the point where you have some traction. You can maybe raise capital from investors, you can recruit other people because now you have proof, and now you have engineers. Now you're actually building a team instead of doing it alone. So, but this never would have been possible even if you hadn't become a technical founder to even get a shot of doing this. So, and the last one, you're acquiring an extremely valuable skill. What is the skill of computer programming, mobile application development, something that's so hot and in demand right now that it's just, and it could be lifelong too. It's an amazing, you'll see once you start learning and once you start transforming and shifting your mind towards technical founder and software engineering, you'll see things will change drastically. Because let's say, what's the worst case scenario? A startup, again, from the definition, a startup is an organization dedicated to creating something new under conditions of extreme uncertainty. So there's uncertainty, which means there's risk. So the startup could fail. And in fact, way over 90% of startups fail. That's just the way it is. And because, in my opinion, it's because most startups fail because they don't do the lean, they don't execute using lean startup methodology, but that's a whole different question. But the point is that if you happen to fail, at least in the first company, the first try, for some reason you fail, no problem. you have this new skill. Now you can actually get a job as a software engineer and recover a lot quicker. It's actually well paid. There's a demand, especially mobile apps right now, iOS, Android. Companies all over. I'm from the United States, so all over the world even. They're hiring. They're looking for people that can actually help them develop apps and software engineering. It's a well paid profession. And if you fail, you can actually get a job as a software engineer, and until you recover, maybe save up a little bit, and then while you're building skills further, you're further building this software engineering skill, in my particular case, mobile application development, but you're building this skill as you're making money, saving, so you can actually be ready to come back again, even stronger than ever before. So I totally agree, with this, and I'm behind this. If you fail the first time, you come back at it again. You recover, you reposition yourself to succeed, and come back stronger than ever. And go and become successful. And you never give up until you actually were able to build that technology startup company that you wanted. That's what who this channel is for. Like I said at the beginning, it's for entrepreneurs, or aspiring entrepreneurs interested in building technology startups. So it's just an amazing thing to become a technical founder, because your life completely changes, and no matter what your rock bottom will be, you have to get a job as a software engineer. That's your rock bottom if you fail. That's actually not bad. That's better than most people get. That's pretty amazing. So it's definitely worth it. It's an investment into yourself, into your future, the future of your company, the future of your family, the world, also your customers. Bringing this value to your customers out of the product that you build and the company that you build is just going to make all of this worth it. So just keep your goals in mind, and everything's going to work out. Just put in the work, and we'll get into other videos, about work ethic and these other things. But it's definitely a lot of good potential, and the game completely changes once you become the technical founder. Now, just to wrap up here, because this is the introductory video, I want to keep it relatively short. Let's give examples of highly successful technical founders. So the first one, almost everyone knows, Elon Musk, founder of SpaceX, co-founder of PayPal. Coding since he was like 10 years old, right? So he was already like a programmer. He already knew coding, and once he actually started building these were not his first companies, but when he became an entrepreneur for the first time, when he dropped out of Stanford to start his first company with his brother, they were building the product themselves. He was like coding 7 days a week all the time. So again, that power, if he wasn't a technical founder, he would not be in the position to be able to do that with his own motivation. Because again, being a technical founder, being able to code and build product, and at the same time having that obsession, that relentless motivation and drive to make this work and to be successful, that is just a formula for success. That is just amazing. You couple that with Lean Startup, which by the way, Elon Musk was using. All of these people were their companies were Lean Startups, by the way, I should say that. Lean Startups with the engineering side and the founders. And look, they became, their companies became billion-dollar companies. Aaron Patzer here, Mint.com. He started the company by himself, single founder, but he was a software engineer when he started. And 3 years later, Intuit actually bought his company for $186 million. 3 years later, and single founder, and he coded, he basically built the product himself. So real quick, so Drew Houston, Dropbox, same thing, coding since he was a kid. Jack Dorsey, founder of Twitter and Square, very famous, again, programmer. Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook, of course, he actually built the first iterations of Facebook himself. You see those pictures of Mark Zuckerberg in the Harvard dorm room, coding just all the time. That's all the pictures that you see of Mark Zuckerberg. So again, having that power to code, at the beginning, it's just completely, changes the game. The probability of success is just a lot higher. Patrick and John Collison, founders of Stripe, amazing, billion-dollar company, and all of these people are billionaires today. Billionaires. They started as engineer. Eric Patzer, he's on his way to becoming a billionaire. He's a millionaire right now after selling Mint, but he will be a billionaire most likely one day. But the others, they're billionaires. So again, the potential, not just even like there's a lot of financial wealth reward potential here by just becoming a technical founder. Like, it's just so many amazing things can happen by doing this. So I hope you liked the video. If you have any comments, suggestions, feedback, leave your comments at the bottom. More videos will be coming soon. I'll try to keep it to a video a week, but you know, we'll see. I'll iterate my approach. That's why the feedback is really important. Let me know below. And welcome again to Technical Founders. And let's change the world together. Let's raise the standard for entrepreneurs and become technical founders and totally make this world a better place.